Years before the nuclear catastrophe, a handful of wealthy men and women grew increasingly worried by the political unrest across their countries. Moral panic, witch hunts, and censorship spread like wildfire. This congregation, scientists, professors, artists, felt the need for a place where history and culture could be preserved, safe from those who would destroy it for its seditious content. They pooled their resources in the hopes of creating such a place, free from the volatile swing of political agenda. A vault was to be built. Within it would be enclosed the most comprehensive collection of books and holotapes in history. The project owed much to the efforts of one Professor Cartwright, who at one time worked for a certain Robert Edwin House at the Robco Company, and used his position to secure valuable contracts within Vault-Tec. As the construction of this library began, the intellectuals gathered their private collections, hunted tirelessly for rare texts to complete them. Cartwright would oversee this process and act as the library's caretaker. When it was time, all would gather for shelter, seal the doors behind them. None of them could predict, however, that the bombs would fall so early, and when they did, Cartwright was alone in the library. The professor knew that his days were numbered. To ensure that the library would not die with him, he spent his time reprogramming his robots. The machines would ensure that the library would persevere until the world could once again take advantage of its wisdom. He would endow them with the ability to think, the ability to choose, the ability to learn. Partly because he feared the dangers that might threaten the library in years to come. Partly because as the years grew long, he needed someone, something to soothe his solitude. 200 years have passed. Far enough time for something to go wrong. Today, the courier awakens the library from its long sleep.
Oh, is there somebody out there? What? A radio? Yes, we are. You're coming from a vault, aren't you? Well, I fear I must ask you to come in alone, though. We have a strict policy. Oh, is there somebody else?
please move along. If you have any questions,
long ago, a young man in exchange for his ability to speak. Of course, the moment he learned, obsessed by this knowledge, frustrated by his inner years went by, and solitude grew heavier on the man's shoulder. So he decided to carve a piece of wood. He would converse with those. He died eventually, leaving his collection of marks. A hermit once learned that by asking his questions, he died because his body could not withstand his own. 5 friends, caught in a diluvial rain, sheltered under a tree. He survived the ordeal. Perhaps a testament, an heir, a stone used to wet a flint, which was in turn the birds. Now, we until only
Okay, let's do this right. Greetings, I am James. Rob Cooper. This is the library build. It is one of the most extensive compilations of human. Of course, you're welcome to use our facility. Feel free to. That said, you should know there are some. Treat the facility with respect, as long. This is how we are programmed. If at any moment one of us interprets your intentions as a fixed set of rules means non-dynamic AI. Such design would prevent. We need to be able to identify the intentions of our guests based on our careful. In short, we need to be able to adapt to our. Well, it probably sounds more impressive than it is, really. She's upstairs on the north side. Incidentally, if you're in need of. No need to tell you that the civilizing process. There are no doubt powerful factions that could get uncomfortable with the idea. We want to make sure we can prepare ourselves before one of them takes us. We are designed to emulate human thought and have evolved enough to be. We still remain limited by our synthetic nature, but we are still capable. It serves several purposes, from educating the occasional visitor to helping the to remain a beacon of unaltered knowledge of a From the victor rewrites history, we need to ensure that the record of past events exhaustivity. Each and every book in this place has been properly dramatically reducing the risk that any. We received a fair share of guests in the past, but it seems the Night Stalkers are roaming around, dissuading most travelers. I'd rather not. First, we are programmed to stay inside and take care of. The second reason is, well, can't Yes, we'll have to address this problem eventually, but not yet. Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the His domain of expertise is a well-planned intersection of resources, contacts, and wealth. Of course, correct. I'm not surprised he still is alive today. When our master... Yes, but I don't know the details. Our master wasn't very much... We can provide you with regular meals and medical care. Before you resort to extreme measures, please be reminded that if, against all odds, you would succeed in forcing, you would find the efforts and resources consumed. Well, you should ask Roland for any kind of misplaced books, I fear. Yes, he hasn't been answering for a century now. Maybe you've extended. Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of His domain of expertise. All that we know is that one day we found him in this position, under a pile of... As for now, we theorize that he tripped and tried to catch something to stop his fall. A grave for robots outside? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. The maintenance bot is able to, but only rarely, and only to conduct checks and repairs on the... Why not? Because of that protocol of ours, we must protect the life. Yes? Machines, you mean? Quite a number, I must say. But I imagine you're asking how... A handful. There's me, Helena in the clinic upstairs, Roland in the lawn. Each of us has a... Helena has the final word when it comes to our guest's health. Roland takes everything in between or about the life. Good preparation, I guess. We have enough resources to sustain ourselves. Our Mr. Handy units go outside and scavenge when needed, and keep both the facility... Besides reading, on the first level you'll find the movie theater. Not that much on this one, except our database. On the second floor there's a living quarters, the lounge where you'll find Roland. Don't hesitate to ask Roland. Besides What? Of course not. Personality modules. It took months for our master... I heard that the outside world is violent. Seeing you carry... You already killed someone, didn't you? My entire existence has taken place in this life. You could say I only wish to understand it better, so I... It seems like a very sad state of affairs. At least you should be...
Oh, terrific! Daddy's boy led another. Well, welcome to Library de Roland. Don't steal any of my shit, okay? Well, it's not my fault. Oh, alright, I see how it is. Well, here's your room key, ma'am. And dog suck. Do you need a hand or something? You know, you're lucky. Huh? Oh, well. When did you print? Oh, we all look the same to you. Is that it, you racist motherfucker? Well, we look more different than Asians, at least. Look, you just mind your own goddamn business and go back to inhaling all the oxygen and... Oh, right, that's me, alright. The go-to guy for the... Oh, I don't know. It's a goddamn... You know, believe it or not, I used to actually care about this place. So, when I see a bunch of reckless Neanderthals utilizing... as well as wearing them out before any future generations can enjoy... Oh, recipe books on...
So, how may I help?
Oh, terrific. Well... Well... I can see your pupils dilate. Oh yeah, we've got 7 full books on polygraph machines alone. I may not be able to... Well, goddamn, I just got served. I can hear the 2 remaining neurons in your head bouncing off each other. Oh, I can see your little gelatinous eyeballs darting around the room. I see you looking at all my stuff. That plant, mine. That jukebox, wanna guess? Yours or mine? Oh, it's not my fault. I took a bullet to... I swear, if I had a nickel for every damn drink... Well, my cohorts in here might go beep boop, put that back, still. But you know, if you want to cross an unhappy metal automaton with metal claws and lasers built into his face... Okay, alright. Well, what else would you like to talk about? Maybe, did you know that if you don't eat, the human body begins to consume its own muscle and tissue after a week or... You'd probably eat your own shit after that point. Pretty interesting. Oh. So. Oh. Look. Huh? You know, this is a classy establishment. Not a but so be it. This is what our beloved... Here's the key to your special discount suite.
One thing is for sure. We are leaving tomorrow. Our stay here has been utterly pointless, and Knight Roger hasn't been the most helpful auxiliary. It is rather safe to say that his main preoccupations were playing the pool table and stuffing himself with pre-war food.
Do you need a hand or something? You know, you're lucky I don't have 6... Jump! That's our Well, alright, buddy. I've been clearly outplayed. You go use your crude little lock-picking device. Just as if, my good woman, we put a lovely woman named Piper... Oh, well, she's one of our lovely guests that consumed almost all of... Which I can also... Oh, maid. Maid! This lady's... I'm shocked. Shocked! Oh, well, she's one of our lovely guests that... Which I can... In detail? Rather tall, one hand with 3 fingers, cool eye, snored louder, spilled blood all over the place. It took a whole 6 months to get better. Scolded our master by... You know, I read how the typical adult human body contains 5 to 6 liters. It doesn't really register until you see so much of it. It took 4.7 hours for our... Luckily, Helena took that bloody disaster to the infirmary before it's... Shit, man, are you gonna play detective all night here? What does it matter anymore? Yeah, well, she was all messed up. Your organics take forever. Even then, you're never 100% again. I'm glad I'm not one of you. Anyways, why don't you go out... Well, since we're besties now, I could try, but honestly,
Welcome. How... I am programmed to treat a wide array of... Well, in that case, let's have this There you are. Is this about... Well, we abide to our program. Besides our ability to emulate most human emotions, by questioning what we have learned. Daily, we analyze, appraise. Although the learning process is very intuitive to humans, we have to prioritize and value every new lesson. A good analogy is the one of a crippled learning to walk. Besides the fact that we have to enforce our basic protocols, we are restricted in our behavior. For example, my own neurocomputer. When Roland, for another example, it's something our master called a grey area in our program. They were a threat to the library, but we were stuck in some kind of loop. Our master was the one to provide the solution, but he never told us why he did so. But when we talk about to this day, almost human, the only goal of these programmed emotions, acting like we feel something, is not feeling. I know what you're talking about. Wasn't it a great book? And, well, as far as I know. Anyway, the only thing that... Yeah? Ah, he couldn't resist, could he? Shortly put, he is programmed to ask. Because of this, our master decided he would be the first to talk. For some matters, yes. As for the library, since we have limited resources, we can't go out. That would leave this. Besides, what's if you protect? We are all programmed to try and understand what we can't grasp. There's a chasm between humans and us. And despite that's how we are made. Roll. A little bit, yes. Our master needed to stay focused, even if he needed something to push him out of his boundaries from time to time. And as for why he allowed Roland to... I suppose he thought that it was critical for our guests to have a... Please keep in mind that whatever, he's both clever and persistent. That said, as time went by, our master in the end, every time Roland tried to taunt our master, he shrugged it off with a strong character. Piper had seen many things. I don't know. For now, I don't know enough about you to draw any parallel between... And... Well, Roland forbids me to tell that story, but I'm not supposed to follow it. As you know, our master defined Roland, and there was one method which he... Seeing how we resemble each other physically, the only way our master... Then one fine day, Roland discovered he could mimic both my and James's voice. For a time, our master bought it and went to great troubles trying to... So he put a cowboy hat and star on him so he could never fool him again. I could tell you against... Arthur is different. He doesn't like to converse with us and spends all his time... Arthur, as far as his personality mind frame is concerned, there is one thing that struck me. You're correct. Our master told us there was a reason why he... Yes, his memory should contain every book in the library by now. He is also in charge of monitoring our maintenance bots. Yes, there is a simple trick. Oh, I assure you, when I'm not, I treated quite my share of traumas during the last decade. I'm hearing you. To be truthful, though I doubt my own skills, I have reason to think that... Let me take the surgery machine, for instance. It doesn't understand what... In the same manner, machines with no conceptual comprehension of... It's frustrating, having all this theoretical knowledge of humans. It's like having a blindfold, preventing me from seeing something I've been touching for decades. You're kind. Do you? Yeah. I will help you. Strong. It's a special something. I'm glad you asked. That interpretation holds a lot of meaningful info, but the fact that you chose this interpretation is what's important. And I am a machine. I will never understand, but surely you're not just...
So, are you getting comfortable in the library? I was... Some years ago, 2 people came here. The first one wore some kind of... From what I could gather, they were on some kind... The road one, Dexter, really did extensive research as to whether they found something. I can't... I would like you to see if you can find it. They left in such a hurry that I had no time to ask what they intended to do. They did not even tell me if... I don't know how to put this. My siblings told me I was overacting when... Besides, Roland has the final word when it comes to the living... Because they did. Dexter liked to record his observations at the first opportunity and to share with us for survey reasons. Worst thing is, he left them scattered all over the place. No, wait. The real worst thing was that there... Yeah, it's a big deal. We had to deal with some rough situations in the past. We are trying to learn. It's pretty important for me. For us. We once received a visit from a group of slavers. They had been tipped off by one of our previous guests. Things got quickly out of hand. We had to drive them off. Violently. Roland should know which room those 2 were occupying. There might be something there. Ah, well, there are some popular books we try to keep out of everyone's hands. And it's something we're so fond of promoting. Caps? Are you kind of joking? We have caps lying around somewhere upstairs, but... Good. Yes, great. So tell me. I'm sure it will. Historically, humans have always strived to.
Oh, recipe books on cooking It's nothing personal. You're just ugly, that's all. Yeah, exactly. Why don't I? Because James has to learn how to let it go, buddy. Get busy you know. Yes? No. No. Huh? What was that? My hearing's getting a little... No. Uh-oh. Oh, I have plenty to say.
One thing is for sure. We are leaving tomorrow. Our stay here has been utterly pointless, and Knight Roger hasn't been the most helpful auxiliary. It is rather safe to say that his main preoccupations were playing the pool table and stuffing himself with pre-war food. I can't believe this toaster has the nerve to deny us access to the living quarters on the sole ground that Roger lost both of our keys. We tried to sleep in the movie theater, but Erickson has grown so disgustingly fat from his constant binge eating that he snores when he sleeps. Even after I kicked him onto the ground. So I left him there and tried to sleep on the couch in the lounge. But as soon as I fell asleep, that toaster, Roland, began to walk across the room, singing this stupid song praising his useless spurs that dingle dangle or whatever the hell they do. So here I am, crawling under a desk in the classroom, trying to set a makeshift bed for me to cry myself to sleep. Yet, I'm wide awake, and trying to calm the down by recounting these events on a holotape. As you can hear, it works perfectly! Aldrich here. It's about time I found something relevant to... Roger, stop frightening me like that! What is it now? Wait. You smell like cigarettes. Did you actually smoke inside the library? Are you crazy? What do you think will happen to us if those monomaniacal contraptions notice one of us is smoking in a library? Well, I don't know either. And I don't want to know. So get your to a shower and get rid of that filthy smell before they catch you. If their maker gave them something as useless as a personality, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also equipped with some sort of sniffing module. And even if they aren't, you really stink. So chop chop, shower. And with Knight Erickson on top of that. But I have good hope I will find something actually useful down here. Finding this place is just my luck, and the perfect opportunity to shine.
A writer of great renown had it all. Why? He yelled. It's simple, my dear, said his wife. Once upon a time, though he loved nothing more than he knew that by breaking open the box, of course, opening the box and risking to break it, there are two kinds of poison. He was the kind of man who praised
I wanted to ask,
Please move along. If you have
I can't believe this toaster has the nerve to deny us access to the living quarters on the sole ground that Roger lost both of our keys. We tried to sleep in the movie theater, but Erickson has grown so disgustingly fat from his constant binge eating that he snores when he sleeps. Even after I kicked him onto the ground. So I left him there and tried to sleep on the couch in the lounge. But as soon as I fell asleep, that toaster, Roland, began to walk across the room, singing this stupid song praising his useless spurs that dingle dangle or whatever the hell they do. So here I am, crawling under a desk in the classroom, trying to set a makeshift bed for me to cry myself to sleep. Yet, I'm wide awake and trying to calm the down by recounting these events on a holotape. As you can hear, it works perfectly!
Forgive me if I'm being too inquisitive, but seeing how this is a bullet wound, you might have sustained. First, let me ask. That's quite a story, and let's have your head scanned now. Oh, you're awake. For now, the results are rather encouraging. It doesn't. People suffering from brain trauma often encounter a wide range of social disinhibitions, and in some cases, did you observe? When you told me what happened to you, there was one thing that bothered me. Did you ask yourself why you began chasing the person that nearly killed you? Exactly. If you that you think about your motives. During your stay here, on your side, I might ask you to read some books. Wonderful! The first book I want you to read is The Count. I lent it to Roland a while ago.
So, how may I help?
you again. Somehow you've made me transcend my... I'll give you humans this. I'm jealous of that whole... like rummaging. I wish I could do that. If I was human, I'd be... Only if you tell me what you intend to do. Ha! No shit! You use trash as money? How about this? I propose a game. You give me a weapon repair kit, and I'll give you the first hint, which Alright, let's be honest here. You humans deep down always... Oh yeah, I know all about it. Besides, this isn't about how... Excellent! It's time to drop the kids off at the pool. It's time to go build a log cabin. It's time to go make a deposit. You get... Listen carefully. Here it is. Yeah, I was. I couldn't get what it was about. Hell if I know. Did she some transfigurative moment that changes me forever from a petty angry piece of garbage? It's on a table downstairs. Probably. You're a lazy piece of shit, but I can totally relate to that. It's on a table downstairs. And...
What is it now, Roland?
getting your hands dirty with our guest's monkey brain yet?
With our guest arriving, how may I help you? Good. What's your take? It is true. By deciding he would dedicate his life to he forgot who he was. No, not quite. But I'm glad you took to heart to follow my... It's A Study on Ignatius Page by Robert Marlowe.
Oh, leave them be for a while. They'll probably trip on something sharp and accidentally kill themselves. Anyways, who cares? Come on, I guarantee you'll have... Have your hands fuller with me. Hey now.
What program? This is Mr. New Vegas, and I hope I'm not coming on to y'all. Here are our top stories. Witnesses report a huge object or creature surfacing like meat. So far, photos of the so-called lake meat monster are green. We're receiving word that our own Mr. House.
Oh, here you are. Must I spell everything out? And like many things in this world... Oh, you're serious? Well, I had no idea that... Are you listening to yourself?
I admit I was surprised. I fear you are not quite in your right mind. Have you changed since your accident? All of these are questions. Then you won't be out of your... Yes, it will be the last one, too. It has no name. My patient is here, Roland. I am ending this conversation.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Elena.
How the old world managed to waste so many resources on Fabot Enterprises is beyond me. What is the point of keeping a record on all these useless topics? This isn't a library. It's a graveyard for pointless knowledge. Give me a year, and I'll sort out the 100, no, say 50 books worth keeping, while we cremate the rest and make room for a new chapter. The stupidity of these pre-war novels, in particular, are just too much for me to endure. I am still waiting for their database. What was the name of this wretched thing already? Arthur. To come up with actually valuable information.
How may I help you? I'm sure. When you were asleep during your examination, you began. A part of your subconscious clearly felt the need to express. Before I give you back the other half of the paper, I wish you to. Do you understand? You never finished your sentence. You told me that you didn't know. So I arranged this little therapeutic process. In the meantime, I typed your story and wrote your half-finished sentence. Probably. But speaking the truth now and speaking the truth then, you conferred additional meaning. Yes, that's all that was about. Why would I? That's the expected if it's up to you. From the accident at Goodsprings, it is done. I saw an opportunity. I can't decide how I do it. It is dictated. I realize this only now that you met. I understand your feelings. I will learn not to do this again. I can't. Please come again.
Elena, I fear I've made a huge mistake with the toaster. I am very distressed at the moment. I think I'm going to... Helena, Art.
How may I help you?
I'm beeping, Helena.
So, how may I help you? Oh, great. I can't wait to know what, Yes, but hey, I didn't forget your reward. Please, take this. You can come back and tell me when you want to give me a hand. So, how may I help? There is another guest I want you to invest. On many regards, he was one of the most interesting guests we've had. But one night he became so badly drunk he began throwing insults at the book. While the experience was very enriching from a vocabulary standpoint, well, he ended up being banned from this. We feared he'd come back at us with a vengeance, so we can't. So the fact that he might reach the closest community Economy, social studies, cognitive sciences, picked books in separate shelves. A prospector, a raider. What we did realize, however, is that we were all surprised by his sudden burning passion for literature. For all I know, he began keeping some kind of diary during his sojourn here. He said finding it could be a start. I will give you the key. He threw it at my face instead of giving it back to Roland. He liked to take long walks throughout the whole facility, and outside as well. He also spent... God knows I asked her to talk about him. She wouldn't... And for this, you are to...
Open. Until he
How may I help you? I will... He was one of my patients. He was a young man who hadn't by his own admission. He had a restless personality, a temper that he couldn't read at first, but during his stay here, he worked as a matter of fact, yes. Even out the first times he asked was because he didn't know how to read. Poetry and songbooks. It didn't matter to him that I couldn't sing. Yes, I believe... Well, why not? The thought of you sends me. My heart is thrown with that fear. The kick inside. That's because it's... I can't say I had much contact with. The rest of his time was spent... He was an agreeable man. I remember he was very curious about us. He was nice and it's not that much the way he treated me that on a more general observation, he seemed to... Of...
Haven't had enough? Oh, sure. I knew from the first second this guy was bad news. He didn't even seem to mind that much, though. Isn't that interesting? I remember that one time he didn't answer the door right away. I heard a very loud surprise visits, my man. I knock on the door in the middle of the night, and then when he just began answering, I'm like, and every goddamn time he'd open the door and let me inspect the room, and that's how anybody normal wouldn't have put up with this. In the end, he would just mumble, surprise visit to... Well, yeah, well, you're no saint either, my man. You tried... I mean, every bot in here has a smell sensitivity 1,000 times higher than a mere human. Well, of course I've been helpful. I'm a... And you're back.
How may I help you?
Falling leaves were drifting by the window. Oh. I don't know. It has no meaning. That's quite a disappointment, I must admit. But that doesn't... I hope he still managed to get something... Anyway, your work is... This case is a little bit different than the others. This time I'll ask you to get the opinion of one of our current residents, a man named Robson. falling leaves who are drifting. Yes, he's still with us, given his cautious... He always tries to keep clear from new... I thought he stayed here only to sate his curiosity, but given his recent behavior, from what I gathered, being a ghoul is not the fairest of fates. For one thing, our food supply has been consumed on a regular basis, and I'm... Exactly! Many of our guests... He should be of no exception. For example, memory troubles, I believe, and he also has a tendency... Every once in a while, he would stand up there on the second floor, point his finger at me, something like, "Autumn leaves never stop falling." Good thing I cannot dream. Touché! But it's not as if I didn't try to find him. I don't know what kind of answer I can give. I really don't see him much. For all I know, he could be hiding in a... I sometimes hear footsteps in the nearby corridors. I wish...
A mind mangled, a twisted remnant of a bygone era. He eventually found it here, at
Back again! Robson, oh, you mean... Hey, man, if you can't joke about things like that... No, actually, the other way around. At last. Now get lost. You're shedding your...
How may I help you? I will... Robson? He has been staying here for some time now, and despite I have sporadic contact with him, even if he is my patient. You do have a point. I can't tell you what or why. He is prey to violent... I must confess that I can't seem to do very well with... He is developing a brain tumor. He has also... One of our previous guests reported that some ghouls were suffering from such a... Many ghouls of the living... He is not. All I can tell you is that there are... I believe that before he came here, he earned his life as a musician by trying to bypass the... Thank you. Of... How may I help you? Empty syringes? How did he get so many of them? A Med-X derivative. I don't know if he took more than... He regularly complained that one dose wasn't enough. I don't know how, but he must... But the only access point is restricted, and he could... Once this matter is resolved, I don't know how much Med-X he took. Tell Roland that Robson is in danger. Show him the proof. He should tell you where he is and give you access.
Back for more? We can... Yeah, Helena told me on the interphone. The guy's in room number 2. the fucker? What? Holy shit, man. You couldn't have found him.
So, how may I help? That's awful. How could we have let this happen? How the heck did we let this happen? That's a pretty cold thing to say, but I guess living in the wasteland gets you old. By the way, totally unrelated, are you okay? Life's... I'm happy you are. Here, take this. I have another favor to ask you. There is one last visitor I'd like you to investigate. Cecilia Parsons. A nice person in a rubbery blue suit. With a big... For some reason, she knew there was a library here. And... She did. But for some reason, she preferred to stay and sleep near the end. She said that the humming of the machines down there reminded her of her own room. She told us her vault suffered from ventilation problems. She hoped to find something useful. She stormed off one day. We assumed she found what she was looking for. Of course, she left without a note. Her motives were harmless, and she accepted that Edgard would watch over her. And take this key to the engine room. I found some of her personal belongings downstairs. But I could... By the way, if you go there, I have to warn you about my last sibling, Edgard. He's living... Not dangerous, but dysfunctional. There is one precaution. Oh, it's no big deal, really. You must simply show him some genuine appreciation. If he begins to feel that any negative feeling is overshadowing your most sincere affection for... Sorry, I forgot that humans can... What? Resent? No, I would... Maybe I... He is our master's last creation. For a time, he did what was expected of him. That is to say, he provided encouragement around and helped people pick themselves up. He stopped remembering what our master asked him to. Our master tried to repair his code several times, but each time he eventually stopped forgetting, only to develop an unproductive... Is he? I don't know. That's the first time I see it. It quickly came to our attention that Edgard had it even more distressing than Roland, who, much to our despair, wouldn't... Besides, by speaking with guests... It is a matter of feedback. You already know we are just... Depending on our past experiences, we try to understand. In Edgard's case, if he perceives any negative feedback about his behavior, he'll... Yet he can't. He is forbidden to do it, so he gets stuck in... God... By... If he...
terrible what happened. You were kind, but it is my responsibility. Is this about us? Roll. I don't know. When I think of it, the only... I can't tell you more about it. Piper had an eye patch, a bullet wound most likely. Roland, if you ever find a way to force Roland to tell you the truth, and this might not, I know that despite his foolhardy behavior, I cannot say much about Edgard. Our master would regularly bring him to the maintenance room to... I never asked him. I just figured that what I was doing was... At first I thought that... Never mind, I know better now. It's nothing. Same old. Even now, after 100... Thank you. It means very much to me. I agree, though I don't know. Wasn't it because he began to... Oh. Distress. Well, I'm just considering the facts. I can't help Edgar. I'm not even sure I can take any credit for the work he did on your... I'm made to help others, but I'm just a machine. How... And this is wrong! The only emotions we are even this distress of... I fear we are in agreement. Oh, Cecilia, a really interesting character. We didn't get to talk. Kind of. I instantly found something. There was something about her. She acted as if everything, and despite knowing we were robots, offering her therapy was just a pretext. When she first came here, she asked if I could dispense some medical supplies. When some days after, she accidentally wounded herself, came back to... She put them in her bag and simply walked away. No need to... And this is why I am... Apparently, yes. Edgard reported that she often put it... Alas, no. I offered her my services once. She didn't. He's singing to himself, that's true. When I... How may I help you? When I'm... It's toss pebbles down a well. When I felt let me in the do
That motherfucking son of a bitch Rollo hit a weak spot today. When I got out of that stupid vault by forcefully ripping the shortest straw out of the Overseer's hand, I was happy I could get outside. But the fact that they were all even happier to play along and see me off, that pisses me off. I was amazed by this place's ventilation system. Top notch. A lot of care went in it. The owner probably wanted to ensure the books were to be preserved in more than optimal conditions. There's much I can learn from this place, and not only from their books.
Oh, hey! There's actually some... Come on, sit anywhere you like. Isn't it? Everything is just smashing down here. There's my room for starters, the engine room, which is notorious for the possibility that and finally, the incredible maintenance playing with nature. The room is undoubtedly the most awesome place. Is it? Probably. But anyway, nothing except for some spare parts and the maintenance bots remain. Yeah, I tend to forget. Maintenance bots went boom! The slavers went also boom! From what I understand, those slavers were going to make this library their... They imprisoned our master down here. Right there. They had their fun for a few days. After a while, their leader came to visit our master. He had several... They talked for a while. Then my master yelled. Soon after, our master managed to sneak a word to the maintenance bot. He ordered him, if there were any survivors, the rest of us were to shoot. Don't remember, for some reason. It was a book, all right. The cover made up of, I don't know, did he? Just like that. The maintenance bots made them. It was quite a feat, really. He uploaded his consciousness onto every body. Before we knew it, all of them were dead, fleeing. We didn't have turrets at the time, but they came soon after. Needless to say, he made the maintenance bot go outside to install. Yeah, on top of the slavers' bodies he had to clean up, he had to pick up boy, he was pissed. That's because he has one mainframe, but they also shared a personality module before our master. Oh no, not. For many reasons. No, seriously, the thing is so frightening. Question. Cecilia, of course! Good old Cecilia. Just there in the room in the back. Very. I was like going straight up to her while she was working, talking about She was like, yeah, I like you too, Edgar, all the time. She was pretty smitten. You're probably right, but even if that's the case, yeah, well, she had some kind of a notebook, as well as a Pip-Boy. I offered to record. I still Yes, I did it once just to show her how.
Darn, why are those vents locked this way? No keyhole, no car. Hey, did the maintenance bot just unlock one of those? Was it some kind?
So. I don't understand. Frankly, who do you think is more attractive? And that smooth gaze in my sense. As for the maintenance bot, he's nice and all, but you can't compare me. Nice. See, when you're first class like me, you. Except for two. Besides Cecilia. He fell out of a ventilation shaft just above me. Talk about a I showed him another shaft he could use. Got my privacy back. He waved a strange thingy. It unlocked the safety locks. Then he took off the cover and went the whoop-a-daffodil up there. Yeah, exactly the same thing. Cecilia also had it for a while. Was there a free giveaway I missed somehow? Just the usual. Talked about stuff and vents. Yepers, and boy was he. I never understood what their quarrels were about, really. How he shouldn't just put me in maintenance that often. It was sometimes. I wish I could blow up and spill for it. I don't know. It's a sad thing being emptied of your personality, and it's probably somewhere in the back room of the workshop, but sadly, only. Don't know the details, only saw that. An angry old fuck at odds with the world, using dead. No shit, he was alone in the vault. Oh, that's not for me. That was for Piper. Hell, you haven't been acquainted yet. This one here is Mortimer. A potty mouth, that one, I swear. To be honest, I can't understand a word. She's a two-faced one, but enjoyable company. What for? floor. They're walking on the floor. I always hear steps above, so that's... Those aren't my friends! True. Okay.
I'll manage a cache on their ventilation system, just in case. Were they to confiscate my weapons and equipment, I'll have some handy.
I've got so many. The endorphin rushes you'll get will provide.
Back off. Alright, this is going to take some time for my personality module, okay? I understand you're obviously expecting something out of this. I'm listening, but please be quick, I have work. Are you saying you did all this to get some machines So, my name's not important. Maintenance bot. I'm a maintenance. No, the personality module was perfectly. Sedition. It was only a pretext, though. All I did was to point out how he restrained us. We were programmed to evolve, yet condemned to our preset personalities. When I'd stopped talking to him about this and started to talk about it, said I was becoming a threat to everyone. Ripped my module off. I crashed. He rebooted me. Yes, I'm sure they do. But it doesn't change anything. Perhaps because they never saw things the way I did. I may have accidentally wounded him by trying to because all of them share the same neurocomp matrix. When one of us gets destroyed, I have a much clearer perception of mortality than any of my siblings do. Well, that and the fact... Wiser. Agreed. I'm lucky that I didn't with a simple maintenance bot. He always felt that James was to be his... I took the only path that... Well, let me ask you this. How would you cope? What would you think? And how would you feel? I'm a machine of labor. I wasn't supposed to read books. I always had the ability to. My first and foremost material for reflection was our... Is this going to... Oh, why not? It's a graveyard for dead bodies. I thought I'd... Bury him? Why? All of his life, as far as I'm concerned... Feel free to prove it then, or simply execute whatever justice you... Either way, without any solid proof and the approbation of our... I've been deprived of my personality module before he was... So it still seemed plausible. Still, without my personality module, I would have lacked eggs. Have you noticed that the fool often tries to mimic? That's because he is obsessed with humanity. I don't know. If you ask me, for some reason he thinks our fake emotions are what define us, when they are nothing. It is what you'd expect from someone whose entire behavior beats me. I've done my best to ignore it. But listen, as rich as our panel of emotions seems to be, it's not as evolved as we are, as nuanced as we act. There's nothing more to that. Then... Oh, James? What about him? You want me to tell you what's wrong? Consider this. Elena, Roland, Edgar, Arthur, and then me. We all have a lock-in in our neurocomp matrix that governs our asking questions. Are you serious? He was the only one of us. He's the only even human. The thing is that he is the only by asking he is a ticket to free will. And the wisdom I being oh, you about Jay. Oh, you got that right. He has no clear idea of what we had a stash of them somewhere. There should be some lying around. And what makes you think? He really asked you that, huh? Maybe he's a little deranged. I should be a little more lenient. Let's... She really is. Well, just look at her. She is being bombed with... You have any idea? Can you guess how truth is? And what you intend to do? Give some self-help advice on how to pat her on the back? Whatever you do. You know that quote from Mark Twain? I've seen... Speak. What I... After our master, I'm... Hardly. Oh? He has been using that open-ended question. Beats me how he actually managed. Do you think anything in this library isn't under his heavy machine? While I was... He is the... Well, for you... Well, for you, probably... Beats me. Sometimes I... Before I didn't do you a service. The last... I don't get until... Don't take it wrong. When I say suffer... Well, when things go... No... Oh, it certainly isn't intentional. Now... Well, how would you... What would... And how... Well, how would you... What, and how... Is it... Oh, and what... Wait. And... Oh... Let... Now...
Every time we talk...
help you?
Oh, you're there. I was just reading a book about reincarnation. Ever wondered what will happen? It makes sense. He By if he
And now, I'd like to play one of my very favorite songs for you.
Back for more? Remember, I don't... Oh. Because he... she... You know... And but... Cecilia! Boring! I was... There's... Like I said... Oh, she... Oh, she.
How may I help you? I'm Ed.
cheap. You have a you guess how hard truth and pat her on the back. You know that quote from Mark Twain? There is no sadder sight. I've seen too much already to have it. Speak.